All right, in this section, we're going to go over setting up your Shopify website for whatever product you've picked and decided to sell. Now, the first topic we're going to go over is picking a name. Before you structure your store, before you even create your email for the store, you'll need to actually decide on a name. Now, this is something where a lot of people overthink this step. It is important, but it's not the end of the world if your name is not that good. I've picked some really bad names in the past and have still ran successful stores with those names. So don't ever think a name should be something where you're thinking weeks or months to actually come up with the proper name for your store. Something I do when I'm actually figuring out what I want to name a product is I try to think of a name or a word that goes hand in hand with the product. So I explained to you guys how I started the store, Thermo Health, that whole store and the thermometers for COVID. That was a product I sold, and me and one of the partners on the store, we came up with a name by thinking thermometer and then the word health because the product was health related. So that's kind of how I think of new names. An example, let's just say I'm going to be selling the Jade Roller. I would try to angle it as a somewhat niche store where it's like skincare, but it's also specific to like benefiting your skin. So you could use the word health again or use the word skin, and then you could name the product something like perfectskin.com or something like that, where you're basically just saying like a word that goes hand in hand with the product and then something that has to do with the product. Now that's just one of the ways you can name a product, or you can name it something very specific. So again, Jade Roller, we'll just use that topic. You can name it like the Beauty Roller or like the Perfect Roller or something like that, and then have your store niche down just to this one product and then have your store set up as a one product store. Now, I like doing that. The only issue is that it's really hard for upsells when you have one store where it's just this one product that you're selling. The upsells look kind of weird when your brand's name is completely attached to a product. That's why Thermo Health, that whole term, that was such a good name because it was very niche. It wasn't like it was just for the thermometer. We didn't have the word thermometer in the name, so it made it pretty easy to actually sell other products. Let's say I wanted to upsell masks on that store. I could easily integrate that, and the name is not going to clash with a different product because the name is not specific to just thermometers. So keep that in mind when you're picking a name, because you want to make sure you have the option to set up upsells. Maybe if this product doesn't work, you don't want to have to buy a new domain, so you can actually go about and run other products and test other products in this niche. Something I like to do if some names are taken, like let's just say Perfect Skin was taken, I would go on Google and type in perfect synonyms or like other words that are kind of like perfect. And then same with skin, I would just try to find similar words or similar stuff that's related to those words and then come up with a name. It's pretty easy though. Like I don't overthink this. I used to do random words. One of my stores was called Colaphizo, like COLAPHIZO.com. I forgot what that was. I think that was like Greek or something for bracelet or like cuff or something. I don't really remember. It was completely random. And then I just like used tons of other words. I remember another one was Zecrio, ZECRIO, and that was again random name. Like I just started coming up with words. I would type in like, let's just say bracelet, that word. I wanted to use that in the name, but I wanted to have a cool spin on it. I would look at it in different languages and stuff and see if there were cool sounding words that fit that product. So that's what I used to do. I again try to make it simpler than that because that's doing too much in my opinion. Like I just again like making my names really simple. So that's what I recommend you guys, just make it simple and pick a word or maybe two words and put them together, or cut them in half and put them together and start making your stores titled something like that. It's not that big of a deal though if you have a bad name. Just be sure you're testing the product and not getting held up on a product name. It's again, not the end of the world if it's bad, because I've seen some stores that are doing millions of dollars monthly and yearly, and they are not named good at all. So again, just don't get hung up on actually picking the name. This should be something very quick, and just think about it for maybe a day, pick a name, and move on. So that's how you pick a name. That's how you can come up with one. Hopefully this helped you guys. Again, it's kind of an intangible skill. Like you just have to think a little bit about like words and stuff that would flow well, and then put words together, and sometimes it sounds good, sometimes it doesn't. But again, you will start to get better at this as you keep going and trying new names out and all that stuff. And what I do recommend for you guys, once you come up with a name, cross-reference it with GoDaddy and Google. If you're gonna use a Gmail, make a Gmail, make sure the name of your store is available for your domain and your email account, because if it's not, you're out of luck. You need a good domain. I personally recommend .com domains. They actually keep all of your information hidden, which I didn't do with Thermo Health. As you guys, I don't know if I mentioned it, but like the way people found out my store, that was my store, was because .us domains are open to the public. It's a United States domain, so they don't hide your information when you register the domain. I didn't know that, so just keep that in mind. I would suggest like .com or .co, nothing else really. So again, make sure you're cross-referencing your name on GoDaddy and Gmail when you're setting up your accounts to verify that the name is actually available. That is about it for this video. Now, once you do pick a name, we will get into how to create a logo, which I will do in the next video. I'm gonna do it on Photoshop. You can use other platforms. I'll show you guys some other ones that are this kind of the same thing, like a little easier to use. I just prefer Photoshop, so we'll get into that next video and I'll show you guys how to make logos. Again, logos are the same thing, like they're pretty simple to do and you don't have to overthink them. If you've seen my Thermo Health logo, it's literally just the name typed out in a cool color and a decent font that's stock on Photoshop. So again, I don't like to overthink the things that don't matter an insane amount. So that was, again, how you guys pick a name. Hopefully you enjoyed this, and we will get into the tutorial for setting up a logo.